This week on the Grassroots podcast. I think a lot of us have the ability to see what other people are doing and can quickly judge them or quickly say what someone else is not doing or doing right or whatnot. But how many times are we checking ourselves?
Local rugby league player, a classic story back up the Hunter Valley. He used to put a mattress in front of his brick wall. This is about 30 or 40 years ago. He was a front row forward. And you should just run full pelt into this brick wall with the mattress there just to condition himself for that impact.
Professionals, or whether it's coaches or medical professionals, but identifying the concussion. Because I know for me, I came back to the bench and I knew I was hurt, but I kind of still got my bell rung a little bit. And I said, no, I'm fine. And I went back out there. And then after that shift, I realized I wasn't fine.
I'm Quincy Kennedy. You can call me Q. I'm here with the team today with my friend Dave Ferrari, Mr. My Driveway Needs a Passport, my friend Jase, Mr. Better Than Yesterday, and Matt Lindsay. Matt, Mr. I'm 15-year-old Lindsay. We got the show for you guys today. We're talking all month about Gridiron. We're in the Fox Den, and it is Gridiron month. So let's get right into it. Well, actually, first, I gotta go on a bit of a rant. My iPhone had a bit of a slip. I was being a great husband, washing the dishes for the wife. Shout out to all you wives out there. Shout out to all you husbands being good husbands to your wives. Wives appreciate us. And I was washing the dishes like a great husband would do. And as I was listening to the Grassroots podcast, that's not a plug or anything, listening to the Grassroots podcast, my phone fell into the sink. So, I know, it's rough, right? Dunked. Slam dunked in a sink full of dirty, nasty water. So I did what Google said, or Google recommended, and put it in a bag of rice for 72 hours. Just took it out today. And Mythbusters, it does work. So my phone is a bit glitchy, but it's good. Apple, I'm disappointed in your progression in your iPhone, because just one generation away, I could have had an iPhone that was waterproof. So,
missed out.
I missed out.
You know, Samsung's generation already had waterproofing, just so you know.
Shout out to Samsung too.
Are you Samsung as well?
No.
No one's Samsung, right?
Just me.
Yeah.
Right there. Pause for effect. But we're getting a lot of great things coming over the next couple months. The podcast is going great. Thank you to all you listeners, all of our fans. We're still doing the poll, I believe, right? Mike's producer, on our tribe name. So we're still working on our tribe name. So make sure you guys are on the Twitter poll and or sending through emails. So just whatever you do to contact us, let us know what your tribe name is, and we'll pick a winner sooner or later, right? All right. Michael says we'll pick a winner sooner or later. But we're doing segments now. We're going to work this segment thing out. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think our first segment, should it be... I think let's do Word of the Day. Word of the Week. Word of the Week?
Word of the week.
Word of the Week.
Word of the week right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Q's Word of the Week. Q's Word of the Week. All right. So here we
What's
go,
it going
guys.
to be?
It's going to be reflection.
Ooh.
We're going towards the end of the year. We have a few months left. Reflecting on the beginning of the year, how we went, and how we're going to finish. For me, it's about self-assessment. I think a lot of us have the ability to see what other people are doing and can quickly judge them or quickly say what someone else is not doing or doing right or whatnot. But how many times are we checking ourselves? Like, are we waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do what we need to do? Are we getting in the gym? Are we having a complete workout in the gym? I know for me, I'm in the gym all the time, but I realized as of recently, I've found myself being able to have quicker workouts, spending less time in the gym, and actually going harder. So I was just making excuses for myself, like, oh, I need a longer rest or whatever it was. So this self-assessment, I think, is key right now, especially going into, like I said, the end of the year, getting ready for 2017.
Too true, mate. I think it's that intent as well. As you said, you've walked into the gym with that intent, and it's just like, you know, I've got a goal to walk straight in, and taking that all throughout your life as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely where I am right now. The season's done, and I'm in the month off, like we spoke about in previous episodes. And yeah, thinking back on how the year went, hockey-wise, and how I could have been better, and knowing what it's going to take to get myself to that level for next year in the summer, physically and even mentally. So doing a lot of reflecting and taking a long look in the mirror.
Absolutely.
And learn a lot about yourself. And then you start to feel good once you get your life in order, because summer's coming and nothing better.
I think it's always good to look at the year and look at the positives and the negatives as well. And yeah, see how you can improve. I think you can always improve. Provided you don't break it down too far, I think you have to, you have to make sure you have a balanced lifestyle and you don't take things too seriously all the time. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's a really, really strong word and a great word for the week.
Question for you, Q.
Yes.
Do you ever get to the gym and just think, it ain't happening today? And have you ever left? Have you ever got there, maybe got going and exercise and thought, I'm calling it quits?
Well, look at his arms, I don't think so.
Make sure shout out to Live Nutrition for these arms. It's all about the supplement guide. Honestly, I have. There has been times. Actually, I've had both where I've gone and just felt like complete crap and didn't want to work out, and I started and had like one of the most amazing workouts. But there have been a few occasions where I've gone there and just like, nope. And I usually that happens when I'm tired and I don't go in with a plan. So like I'm just gonna show up and I'll just do something. And I go there and it's like, oh, do I want to do back? Oh no, do I want to do cardio? And then eventually, like I'll sit down at a bench, flick through my phone, like looking for something to play music-wise, and then 20 minutes later I'm out. Yeah. Because I just didn't do anything. I didn't go in with a plan. I was already tired. But usually that doesn't happen, especially right now. I'm pretty motivated and just trying to get these gains before summer.
Yeah.
So going pretty hard.
I got a question for Jase actually, because good question, Dave. But I think I feel it the most when I don't eat properly before I go for a workout.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, if I am working out in the morning and I'll just quickly grab some Nutrigrain or something like that, and it's only 20 minutes before I work out, I really struggle.
Yeah.
Like, does that play a big part?
Oh, absolutely. The type of food you're putting in your body is going to dictate the intensity that you can train at as well. So, for example, if you had, say, an avocado and an egg, so you've got no carbohydrate content in there, when it comes to the point where you really want to push yourself, whether you're doing some high-intensity interval training, whether you're doing some, say, speed work with Olympic lifting, you can't press the button really quickly on that. You can't convert energy that quickly and run off fats as a fuel. So, Nutrigrain, a lot of carbohydrate. Shout out to Nutrigrain.
You put the Cocoa Pops in?
Iron Man food. It might come down to quantity. It might come down to what you're having with it as well. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for training is to minimise the gastrointestinal side of things as well. So you want low fat, you want low fibre, and sometimes even in liquid form as well. If it doesn't sit well, a lot of athletes, are going to have some stomach upset. More so in games, the nerves thing, especially contact sports.
Yeah.
Some guys can't eat for 3 and 4 hours. Even the day of. So
Me and Maddie work out together. Quite surprising, but
Are you guys working out together? Or are you guys just talking?
both productive business meetings in the gym.
It takes a long time. It's like 2-hour workout.
Yeah, high
Multitasking. High intensity.
But and we also work together in an office. But what kills us is chocolate milk, and we love it. But we'll go have a chocolate milk, and then it's coma afterwards.
Yeah.
Maybe high sugar. I don't know. The milk I've heard makes you sleepy. Is that true?
Anecdotal at this point, but ironically, chocolate milk's becoming the new post-workout craze.
Oh, we have it after practice too.
Yeah.
I think our problem is we have it a lot before we work out.
Preloading protein.
Yeah, probably too much of a good thing.
There's really good chocolate milk. It's not here. It's only in the States. But it's Blue Diamond has a dark chocolate milk.
Oh, wow.
No, dark chocolate almond milk. That's what it is. To die for. It's
Wow.
killer. I'm not even a chocolate milk fan, but this is just like butter. Like, oh, so good. All right, I'm done. It's so good. But finishing up on this self-assessment, I think that's something we should always be doing. I think we should have short-term goals. I'm not even a goal person, but I'm getting there because I'm self-assessing. I'm reflecting, guys. We should have short-term goals, but we should always, like you said, looking in the mirror and always, like every day, just waking up and seeing, like, am I doing the right thing today? Am I pursuing the things that I've set out to pursue? Am I reaching my goals? Even simple things of making contacts. Am I supposed to call someone out? Am I supposed to be here on time? Like the last 3 meetings I've been late. Is self-assessing and being better every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's important getting ready to finish out the year. Like how you begin the year is how you finish. And if you finish in being late for meetings, waking up late, not finishing tasks on time, not getting back to clients, not getting back to, whatever the case may be for whoever's listening, that's really going to really just become your worst nightmare going into 2017. So
Good advice. It's the little things
Yeah.
that make such a big difference. Don't always focus on the big picture.
that's right.
Yeah.
The slight edge.
That's right.
Inch by inch, anything's a cinch. Yard by yard is hard. So,
I like it.
talking about yards, Gridiron Month, guys. We're talking all things Gridiron. But before we get started with Gridiron 101 today, I think I have a fun little game we should play. I think we should try to guess how many teams are in the NFL. And if we have the time, which I'm looking at the clock, I think we have the time, try to name as many as we can.
I like it.
Ooh,
Let's do it.
good
Go ahead.
game.
Phones away.
Phones away.
Mine.
No Google cheating. my personal assistant Google. What's that? So, Michael, after we go around the table, Michael the producer. I love that. Michael the producer. Sorry, guys. Pumped today. All right. So, after we do our round table, our numbers, can you throw it up on the back? Cannot. All right. Can we get the answer somehow? You would throw out the answer.
Throw it on the screen. Yeah.
Radio.
I'm going to start it off so no one takes my answer. Because that's typically what happens around here. But I'm going to say there's 40. There's 30 NHL teams.
30, I think.
Expansion. It's coming.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to say 40 because NFL's everywhere. There's teams you've never heard of.
Oh, there you go.
There you have it.
I'm going 42.
Like I said, it's a common trend around here.
Yeah, it is coming. Honestly, I was thinking 38, but my thing is like there's 50 states, and most states have a team. And if a state doesn't have a team, there's some states that have more than one team that would make up for that. So I think it's really close to 50 teams.
Yeah. Well, if you're going, I'm gonna review mine then.
Yeah, no, you can review it. You can't change it. Yeah, review it.
You've locked
You can
your
reflect
flag.
on your
I can
answer.
reflect.
You can reflect. Remember, you're going first, so no one steals your answer.
Okay. Yeah.
You guys.
That worked.
How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm way lower than you guys, I think. I know you're American, so I should probably stick to the near 40s, but I'm going way lower than that. I'm picking 28.
Well, you're wrong, right?
Yeah, I've got absolutely nothing, so I'm gonna say 26, but 26 worth remembering.
All right,
like
drum roll. 32.
Oh, I'm closest.
What?
I won.
Get out of here. Wow. Congratulations.
Wow. Okay,
first week's down. Good job.
Wow.
Next week we'll have something new.
Now he's got a name them all.
Yeah, now you got a name ball. Let's go.
All right.
Pays off.
What are we doing one at a time? What do we want to do here?
No, just
You want
punch
me
out as
to?
many as you can.
Okay. 49ers, San Francisco. Pittsburgh Steelers. The New England Patriots. Detroit Lions.
Yep.
I knew I had to get that one.
That's right.
It's starting to wear thin
All right.
there.
Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, Denver Broncos. You said New England Patriots already, right?
Yeah.
Denver Broncos to the
Washington.
Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
Good. Los Angeles Rams. Used to be St. Louis Rams.
It's going to come to me and there's going to be none left.
Oakland,
New York Giants.
Oakland Raiders, right?
Yeah, Oakland Raiders.
Minnesota
New York
Vikings.
Giants, New York
New York
Jets.
Giants. New York Jets.
Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers. There we go.
Tennessee Titans.
There we go. Tennessee Titans.
Is there some
Houston
Dolphins
Texans.
and Dolphins in there?
Miami Dolphins. There we go.
What about the one that had the
Sandy.
huge flood and ended up winning? Like,
New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Bow.
San Diego Chargers.
Yes. Superchargers.
Is there Raiders in there?
Arizona
Oakland Raiders
Cardinals.
said those. Yeah. Arizona Cardinals.
32, right?
Yeah, where we at?
Did we say Tigers already? Is there a Tigers?
Bengals.
Bengals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati Bengals.
That's around 32, right?
Eagles. Philadelphia.
Yeah, and then
Oh.
the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle
Did we
Seahawks.
say
Yep.
those?
Baltimore Ravens. All these birds.
Yeah.
Wow.
We said Pittsburgh.
We said
right?
Pittsburgh.
Cleveland have a team? Do we say Cleveland?
Indians. No. It's baseball.
Does Cleveland have a team? I don't think so.
Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I said them already.
Yeah,
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
We're starting.
I was thinking Cleveland has two. Ohio has two teams. Cleveland. That's it. Cincinnati. Yeah, they have two teams. That's cool. Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah. Okay.
We're pretty close, I
Well,
think.
we're close. I think
Well,
we're
we're
doing
at least
good.
halfway, I would imagine.
Yeah, at least. That was more than 15 teams.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
New York Giants.
That's
3 New York teams.
That's my
Look
team.
at
Wow.
New York Giants.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you name them all the players?
There's a guy who wears an oven mitt.
How many
Paul
players are on the team?
I think it's like 32's on the roster.
Okay.
33, 32 maybe.
That's huge,
Something
isn't
on
it?
there. 11 players on the team on the field at a time.
Let's get into that because that's
get it,
something. My knowledge is limited, as we know.
Absolutely.
Until the day that there is 40 teams, and then I saw it coming. But I've read the book, The Score Takes Care of Itself, and that's actually, I refer to that a lot in coaching hockey by Bill Walsh, great 49ers coach. But the size of the rosters is something that blows me away.
Yeah.
And the specialty of the positions
Absolutely.
and how different they are. Really, it's almost like different sports.
Yep.
You look at the build of a quarterback and the athleticism, the creativeness, and then you have those big guys that don't look like athletes just blocking.
Did we say Carolina Panthers?
I don't think so, no.
Did
We might have.
Oh, sorry.
And thanks for paying attention to what I'm talking about. But I guess Q, fill us in on that. It's an interesting sport like no other. Like hockey players, we can walk on and off a plane, and you couldn't really tell who the forward and defensemen are. Even the goalies are very athletic. But a football team, really their body makeup says a lot about what they play as a position, and there's just so damn many of them.
Yeah, right. So I believe there's 53 on the roster and 46 actually dress for a game.
46.
Wow.
That's to my knowledge. In regards to positions, you're completely right. Every position, it is like a unique position in itself. I'm just thinking like linemen in themselves, usually massive guys. They're big guys. They're not the guys that you're going to see doing one-hand catches in the end zone.
Now linemen, they're the guys that as soon as that ball's snapped, they're making
Boom,
contact.
Crunching.
yeah, they're crunch time. They say linemen win games.
How heavy would those guys be?
Oh man, they're massive. Like
Put it in kilograms, because a
I
big
couldn't
hockey
do- I
player is
couldn't
about
do-
100 kilograms.
I
which
couldn't
is-
do kilograms. I'll
which is
do
220
pounds.
Say pounds.
I'll do
Say
pounds.
pounds.
2.2.
So,
No,
so pounds, like you're like, oh man, I don't want to throw something. And whoever's listening, like, oh, he's so far out. But like, you're getting to 300, low fours,
I'd believe
high
that.
twos.
They're units, and they're like 6'6", some of them.
Yeah, 140, 150
They don't
kilos.
look healthy,
Yeah.
though. Some of those guys.
But that's the thing. So like you're talking about, like, these guys are athletes. They are healthy.
Yeah,
like
it blows my mind.
linemen, like you see linemen just running insane 40 times right now, and how they're really athletic in the sense of not only they completely get their bodies bashed in play after play, but their endurance for how big they are. Right? No?
I believe you, but maybe Jase, you can give a take on this. They got the gut, which doesn't look healthy, but I believe you. They can push and pull against these big athletes, play a lot of minutes, run, take a lot of contact. Is it good for the body to be that size and still moving and crashing and bashing like that?
Well, the impact technically is not good for you as well. I mean, you can kind of put an argument that any sport can be detrimental, whether it's a one-sided sport, you're throwing yourself out of balance, but not for that size. They'd be outside every sort of health parameter. As you said, they're not pure muscle mass. These guys are just sheer size to absorb that impact. So they can keep coming back on that short-term burst. It's a very different energy system they're using.
Absolutely.
But if they had to literally start using their aerobic capacity and start going for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes extending out, they'd be tapping out really quickly.
definitely.
Michael, our producer's just put up the average weight 2015, 312 pounds
Oh, that was close.
Of a lineman.
of a lineman. Yeah,
That's 141 kilograms.
that's massive.
So just think 2 to 3 times that body weight through each limb every time they start running.
Yeah, right.
That's a lot of force.
Wow.
Can I play devil's advocate? Like, I've been around these guys. Like, these guys are athletic. Like, I agree with you. The weight, yeah, I'm not gonna say the weight itself is not healthy, but these guys are monsters. Like, they're lifting. They're on an eating regimen. Like,
yeah.
they are staying hydrated. Again, like the body fat percentage is not healthy. I agree. But like these guys are pretty healthy individuals. I feel like
Can you be healthy with that much body fat?
Yeah, true statement.
Tell me your heart is just not like going nuts.
That's actually an interesting one because
But why wouldn't they have a heart attack already? Like,
Well,
it's
already.
like, it's like no, I'm saying, but these athletes, like, it's 80, 90, 100 degree Fahrenheit that they're playing in this heat. And they're not passing out. Are you going to say, well, just because they're hydrated, that's enough that they won't
hey,
pass out?
I'm
Like,
sure
they would
they're
have to be healthy enough to be able to do that kind of physical activity and be able to be. I'm sorry, but you're the expert. I'm sorry.
No, it is like that too. But as you said, they've trained for a very specific reason. So look at your heavyweight Olympic lifters. They're big guys.
Yeah.
They can maul a barbell and lift some very impressive numbers, shift a lot of weight. You have to be that size. It's not a linear relationship between strength and size, but it does play a part. So they've got the impact factor, where these guys need the size to absorb that impact. Because if you're a matchstick out there, you'd be crushed. You would literally be crushed. Doesn't matter how much padding or protection you've got. When you've got 140 odd kilos running at you, probably times 5 coming at you, that you have to. You really have to have that size. So they are very fit in that really short-term capacity. I'd say rather than the average Joe who might be sitting on the lounge who's 140 kilos that does absolutely nothing, they'd have this far superior body composition, but they'd still have a lot of body fat mass. And in general health terms, probably not the most healthy, but I reckon they can offset that because they are active. And we're seeing people that are really quite large lose a lot of weight. They still might be 120, 130 kilos, but because they've dropped 50 kilos, all of their blood chemistry, if they had a blood test, would be perfect. You know, they're actually really, really healthy. They've improved their health so much. Because people are generally being bred larger now, like obesity is becoming more common, they're finding people now with completely normal blood lipid profiles. So their cholesterol levels, their total triglyceride levels are normal, and they would be classed as morbidly obese because we're adapting to it. Yep. The body's become used to holding that much weight. So
do you kind of toughen up your body by abusing it? And you know, you talk about like people that drink a lot of alcohol, like their liver might be able to take that, whereas a person who doesn't, you know, if I started drinking that, well, it's going to probably kill me. So these athletes that put their body through so much, is their body just like a muscle? When you work it out, it gets stronger in that area. Yeah,
it's hardened. It is hardened. It's like martial arts as well. If you've ever seen some of the training, mixed martial arts, where they're belting guys in the stomach, wanting them to tense their abdominal muscles to prepare for the same impact of what a blow would be. It really is not a healthy thing to be doing, but you're actually building layers of muscle through that, making yourself stronger in a way. It's an interesting way of training. It's really, you know, it's fascinating to watch, but that constant repetitiveness. Local rugby league player, a classic story back up the Hunter Valley. He used to put a mattress in front of his brick wall. This is about 30 or 40 years ago. He was a front row forward. And you should just run full pelt into this brick wall with the mattress there, just to condition himself for that impact. And he was one of the best players out. So, you know...
we never been too fond of rugby players. You're not the smartest group of guys.
I wouldn't say it's a smart decision, but innovation, and it helped his performance.
Yeah,
How can you argue? It was like a brick.
Look, before we move on from linemen, 140 kilograms, work like those, like practice every day, in the weight room every day. What would a guy like that be eating daily to maintain or even be trying to grow from that weight?
Probably 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. So when the average person is around about 1,600 to 1,800 calories a day, if they went to a buffet, the buffet would be running out of business. And that's what they typically do. Their team dining experience, they find a buffet.
That's exactly it.
You have to have that volume of food going in.
53 guys on a roster, or 46 dressed, rock up at a buffet. But you can't lock the doors quick enough.
You're turning the lights off. They go
Close
away.
for business.
It's ridiculous.
Awesome.
And you have to put that amount of food away to maintain that size. Guys are sitting there with tubs of peanut butter and just hoeing in. They don't get full. Like their stomach is so elastic, it just stretches out to massive proportions. And it's impressive.
When I was younger, we used to go to the Detroit Lions training camps. They were at SPSU. Shout out to SPSU. I'm alumni, guys. That's what you guys know. Anyway, so when they used to train at SPSU during training camp, we used to eat with them during their lunches. They used to run 2-a-day camps, and this is exactly what you said. I mean, the whole dining hall is a buffet for these guys, and they're just smashing food. And then they go out and have another practice. So it's pretty intense.
But then you have those guys. We'll move on from line, from the line.
Yeah. The
O-line, D-line, the line.
The line.
Yeah, as I call it. The is it wide receivers or running backs?
Yep.
And these guys are shredded. Right?
Yeah. For the most part, unless you have someone like Jerome Bettis, the bus, Pittsburgh Steelers. Big shout out to you. Actually, I think it's a Michigan native, Saginaw, Detroit. Pretty sure.
Oh wow!
Shout out.
Yeah, big shout out. I just feel bad for not knowing. Anyone in Michigan listening will like, oh, you represent
killing
the brand
us.
pretty bad. Yeah. But I mean, he was a powerhouse running back, but he played running back in a different way. He was for those when you need those 5 yards or when you need those 2-3 yards. Like he was hitting the middle hard.
Right.
Just like halfback dive or whatnot. But yeah, like you said, man, you got people like Reggie Bush out there, and I mean, there's heaps of other players. Barry Sanders was a monster as well. Back in the day, shout out. I'm just all Detroit guys. Much love. But no, you're exactly right. Their body's built different. Their athleticism is completely different. Receivers, like you have Megatron, I watched a sports science video on him, and a quarterback throwing to Megatron is like his target is like trying to hit an elephant. Like it's massive. And so
I could throw it to him. I can hit an elephant. This thing.
Elaborate on Megatron there.
Calvin Johnson?
Is that his nickname? I guess.
Yeah, that's what they call him.
Okay.
Yeah, so Detroit player. Again, a big shout out.
Shocking.
But yeah, just a beast. But like that's the athleticism that they have. Like anyone throws a football at an elephant, you're probably gonna hit it. So that's the equivalent.
Well, when you got 5 linemen, 140 kilos running at you,
Right after you see, that's another thing. That's part of the athleticism.
It's
like
a dynamic
quarterback.
game.
It is.
That's what the little bit I know of. That's what I like about it. Whereas rugby, which I'm not so hot on, is very two-dimensional. It's just kind of running at each other, contact. But now with Gridiron, you can throw the ball, get it in the air. That using your hands and your feet with specialized positions and things like that. There's a lot more to it.
Let's talk about positions real quick.
Yeah.
So in offense, we have your 5 down linemen, which you have your center, who's the one who hikes the ball to the quarterback. Your quarterback sits right behind the center, takes the ball. You have your center. On both sides of the center is the offensive guards. On both sides is the offensive guard, offensive tackle. Right? So I think that puts us at 5, 6, 7, right? Something around there. Then you have your tight end. Depending on the offense that you're running, you may have 2 tight ends, or you might have the 1 tight end who's going to sit tight end.
Why is he called a tight end?
Because he's on the end and he's tight to the line, so he's right next to the tackle.
Simple.
So it's a tight end.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, right. So again, it's based on whatever offense you're running. Rather, if you have tight end, you may have 2 wideouts or wide receivers. You may have 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, depending how many wide receivers you have, depending on what offense you're running. We'll debate how many tight ends you actually have playing on the line. So that's your offense. Defense, you have your 2 defensive tackles. Both sides of them is your D ends. Sometimes if you're running like a 5-4 defense, you have a nose guard who will line up right with the center. So it's
guard in the nose.
Yeah, guy in the nose. There you go. So you have nose guard, 2 tackles, 2 D ends. Behind them, you have your linebackers. You have a safety, your defensive backs. And covers it all.
And the safety, his job.
Safety, right behind the linebackers, and he's that guy. Like, if you get past the line, you get past the linebackers. That safety is usually that big hitter. He's quick.
So he's your stay-at-home defenseman in hockey, or your long pole defender in lacrosse.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Staying home. So yeah, and again, a lot of those positions are based on what offense or defense you're running.
Now, are there any positions that stay on the field for every snap or play in every situation, or is it totally offense and totally defense?
Totally offense, totally defense.
Right.
Yep. And then you have your special teams as well.
Which are special teams?
Special teams is punt return, kickoff, that kind of stuff, field goal.
Are the punters ever out there apart from when they have to punt?
Oop.
Really?
It's a simple job.
So they're
Just one thing to practice.
And what's so sad is when they miss like those game winning kickers.
That's your
your
one
only
job.
job.
One
And
job,
you missed the
one
game
job.
winning. Like you could have won the Super Bowl, but you missed kicked. So I mean, Gridiron it's an amazing sport. Like I used to play, I love it. It's such a religion in the States, especially high school football down south. Like if anyone's seen Friday Night Lights, Bobby Miles, he's talking about Midland. You from Midland? He don't want me to play. You from Midland? Okay, so but it's just religion. Like I remember even playing like in Saginaw, Michigan, it's not as big as it is down south. But I remember like every night, like Friday night lights. It was Friday night, the whole town was there. You know, most people you have like kids who aspire to be playing varsity football one day. So you have the middle school kids there, and they got their jerseys on representing the school.
Yeah.
Then you have all the parents, all the fans, the community's there. The crowds are full. You know, it's really good. Like, it's a great environment. It's pretty full on. And homecoming games are insane, like packed out, sold out, and you're just playing for your school. You're representing.
What's homecoming? What is that?
What is the history of homecoming? Actually, that's
Who's
a great
coming
one.
home?
Who's coming home? Homecoming is like. That is a great question. Like, what really?
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's good. Homecoming is like it's a week that you just represent your school to the fullest. That's how I think. Well, when I think of homecoming, it's just like
is it the alumni coming back to the school to represent things like that? Like
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that happens as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even more. Maybe that is it. It's the alumni. I'm thinking more collegiate. Yeah. More collegiate is the alumni.
I'll ask the questions and answer them too.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's all good. Like, that's a great one. I want to be on the spot with that one. I deserve that. Homecoming.
I just watched Last Chance University on Netflix.
Netflix. Big shout out to Netflix. Yeah. That's right. We're giving you free advertisements, so feel free to sponsor the team. Go ahead. Sorry.
But it's great insight to football or Gridiron. And yeah, they had a big homecoming game, and I kind of wondered that. But the only thing I took from that documentary is that all the alumni are there, and it's such a big deal for that school. For people to play big on homecoming game was huge.
Massive.
They're so passionate about sports over there.
They do it right. They really do it right.
Yeah.
That's why we do this, guys. We're growing grassroots sports. We're creating that environment. But more importantly, I think when we're talking about positions and equipment and all that fun stuff, I think the most important part about this episode really is talking about current situation that's going on in the States right now, and a lot of sports, but really in football, is concussions, the safety behind it, and the regulation. So that's where my man from the Live Nutrition, Jase, comes in with Better Than Yesterday. So talk to us about concussions.
Pretty serious, and it's only really come to the spotlight fairly recently. As I said, it's been across a lot of sports, whether it be gridiron, your regular football codes, even things like cricket, people getting hit in the head. So your brain naturally has got a fluid capsule sitting around it inside your skull, and that's just to protect it. So concussion is actually when you get a force hitting your head so violently that your brain will actually rebound against your skull, so that fluid medium isn't going to do its job for you. It's the knock-on effects of that as well. It can be really subtle. It can be quite severe, so you don't have to be unconscious in the ground. You can be playing along fine, but it could last for up to 2 to 4 weeks, those results, and it can alter your mood. Your sleep patterns can be out from that as well. I feel fogginess, you won't be able to remember things. In junior sports, I think there's been some really good advancements with the protective gear that has come into it as well, but also I think the education around concussion, getting people to a medical officer if you have one of those on your team, if you're lucky enough to, but to a doctor straight away just to double check, because those guys are the experts, to have a look and just to make sure. And I think safety should come into it. If you do cop a decent hit, progressing on the game, saying, yeah, I'm okay, you're not going to win yourself any points there. There's no point in risking your own health when you can't definitively say that you are okay.
On that note, sorry, just real quick, I have noticed that players would play on with a broken limb rather than with a concussion.
Yeah.
Usually concussions, like trainers, coaches, most of the time even the player themselves, like, not going back out. Yeah. So they take that neural damage, the brain injury, more serious than like a limb.
Absolutely. It's brain damage. You can cause yourself irreversible brain damage at that point in time. If you get a bleed on the brain, could form a clot, you could have a stroke. It's as simple as that.
Have you guys had a concussion, anyone here?
I've had a few.
Yeah.
One in football, got cleaned out, just got wrecked, and had a concussion.
I can guarantee you most of us have, and you just didn't know at the time.
Not the severity of it, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had one earlier this year, and it is pretty scary. And a lot of things that you just can't control. Like, I remember for me is well, first of all, I think, like you said, the big thing is out that is starting to be out there and should be out there is professionals, or whether it's coaches or medical professionals, but identifying the concussion. Because I know for me, I came back to the bench and I knew I was hurt, but I kind of still got my bell rung a little bit. And I said, no, I'm fine. I went back out there. And then after that shift, I realised I wasn't fine. But we need people saying, especially kids who are just going to try and go through everything, to say, you're fine, but you're just not playing the next couple of shifts, and then tell me if you're fine in a few minutes. But the things that triggers, like you said, it was really scary. Like for me, I remember when I did get pulled out of the game, and I was getting checked out, and it was just after that, you start getting real emotional. And I was kind of like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And you're kind of embarrassed about that, but it's you just don't have any control over that. And I think that's what, starting to get emotional and not having control over it. I was kind of like, oh, this is really scary, because this is not normal.
Did you have the experience? I know for two of my bad concussions, there's this part where, like I was fine, like it had happened, I got checked out, I'm at home, and then randomly for like an intense 30 seconds, my head just goes nuts, like this throbbing and pain. I'm just sitting there crying and just like clenching my head, like just massive pain. But it's happened to me twice in my concussions. It's like you're fine, like you got checked out, you're at home, middle of the day, and all of a sudden it just attacks. Is that something? Have you experienced that? Or
not severe like that? No, there's been things that kind of come up since, but no, not that sounds pretty vicious.
Yeah, blinding headaches, your vision going, nausea, vomiting. As you said, that mood change. So it's not being angry. It's it's something to be really concerned about. Whether someone goes really quiet and they're quite upbeat. If Q turned up and was just sitting there and not saying anything, we'd be like, well, hey, Q, how you going, mate?
I'd be watching commercials and I'm starting to tear up. And I was just this is not good.
Do you think helmets are ever going to get to a point where they really can prevent them? Because I know like traditionally helmets were made to more stop like fractures and skull fractures and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you think they're ever going to be able to get to that point?
Sometimes it's not so much the impact from the player, it's the ground. It's the impact on the ground. And I hear a lot of contact sports saying that as well, that, the guy hitting me, that's fine. There's a bit of give and take in that body. But the ground doesn't give at all, especially on ice.
Yeah, well, mine was against the glass, which
doesn't give at all.
Which didn't give at all. But I think, we don't want to paint Gridiron with a bad brush with concussions, because it happens in every sport.
Absolutely.
And the big thing that I learned is, back in the day, before we knew much about concussions, and Q, tell me if this is right or wrong, but players are actually taught to lead with their head and kind of hit with their head, or protect the ball with their head because you have the helmet on.
Absolutely not.
No?
No, we've never, like from very little, they teach us not to do that.
Really?
Like you actually get a penalty for that. You'll get thrown off the game for doing stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so like and people actually look at you like you're stupid if you do something like that. Yeah. It's almost like.
But is that a new thing? Because I thought that, as I said, back in the day, it was
maybe way back in like
the
the 60s, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, but since I've been playing in the 90s, we've never been told to leave with our heads. Like, it's kind of suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know they're getting that out of the same with hockey, any headshots, but with football as well, all the head contact out of the game to really try to help with concussions now. We know so much about them.
Yeah, it's control as well, and like mandatory helmets in a lot of sports are coming in. But I think the power that coaches have to say to that player, off straight away.
Yeah.
They need to take that preventative precautionary approach to say that. I think that's one of the best things, especially in kids' sports as well, because as you said, kids are, single-minded. They're going to keep going.
Yeah.
They really are. Just to prevent it, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Michael, the producer, is saying he got word that development of helmets will actually report if concussions are possible from impact. And I'm thinking to see what lacrosse, I know Cascade had an issue. I think Riddell, if I'm quoting right, Riddell, which is major football manufacturer of helmets, partnered up with possibly Brian or STX to make a lacrosse helmet. And in that process, when they were going through regulations, they actually found that Cascade wasn't getting the complete clear. Like they were getting cleared, but there was stuff in their helmet that could cause concussions. And so that was a big thing in the lacrosse community about a year or two ago.
Yeah, right.
But that's just crazy that almost like big business, you know? Like, why would you clear a helmet knowing that there's a possibility of someone getting hurt and then be comfortable with that?
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of technology going into it. And I think also the knowledge for parents and players that a helmet that fits properly is the most important thing, whether it's a good or a bad helmet, but a good fit so there's no movement, things like that. I know in ice hockey there's I haven't seen a lot of them, but one kid I was coaching one time had a face cage with a green light underneath the chin cup. And apparently when that turns red, the helmet needs to be taken back and checked out because it's had an impact that was big enough or that could have caused a concussion. So I'm not saying that's the answer to concussions, but obviously it was kind of maybe a prototype or a test. So I've only seen a small number of them. But it's a big focus, and it's kind of a big moneymaker for companies too, because I know hockey helmets are getting now up in the high $300 for a helmet.
Yeah, right.
So they and it's smart, right? If you're a parent or any player, you know, that's what you need to protect most. So spend the money on a good fitting and safe helmet. But you know, like grassroots sport, Gridiron's getting bigger in Australia here. I guess talk to us about kids gridiron and how early do they start playing, and is it always contact? Like I know in hockey we don't, in Australia we don't introduce players to contact until they're about 12 or 13, I think.
14, yeah. 14 is their first, yeah.
So is it the same in football?
Similar. So I'm going to go based on when I was playing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if rules have changed since then or if it's by state. So I'm talking specifically for Michigan when I was playing. We couldn't play contact football until middle school. So that would have been grade 7 and 8. We couldn't start contact. So even in grade 6, we weren't.
So it's about the
contact.
same, right?
14.
Yeah.
So before then, you're playing flag football.
Yeah.
I lied.
Keep
We
the
weren't. We
facts.
weren't. I'm just trying to remember. We weren't playing because we were still playing with pads, but you couldn't tackle, so it was still flag with pads. And then 6th grade, the township league was a full tackle league, but you couldn't play for your school until 7th grade. Okay, so 6th grade. So yeah, grade 6. So like 13, 14, we could start tackle.
Right.
But anything before that, even when I was like younger, so when I was like 7, 8, elementary school, that was flag football, no pads.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did the training actually start in terms of tackling technique before you were allowed to tackle? Were they starting to get those skills ingrained in you before that stage, or was it something that literally the training started when you were cleared to do it and it was just go time?
I would say more once you started actually playing tackle, they taught it.
Yeah.
But they still, even with flag football, essentially they taught us to get low, chest up, and grab the flag.
Yeah.
You know, so it's still like, it's just more of an athletic position
Yeah.
that, I mean, would help you in any sport, technically.
It's funny, like kids going into sport, parents look at that, the contact sports are always feared. I know ice hockey, lacrosse to an extent, and gridiron. But from my experience, all my friends growing up played AFL and rugby league and things like that. They were the ones getting hurt a lot more, like doing knees. And there may be more contact in these sports, but as I said, the equipment's come a long way, and I think there's more of a focus on teaching it. Like I know in hockey we do contact clinics. So there's a big focus on that. So even though they're more, well, they may be perceived as more violent, I think they're really safer, and the players are better educated to take contact with all the padding and things like that. So if a parent's putting their kid into a sport, you really got to step back and, okay, it may look vicious on the surface, but the kids are actually learning a lot and are well protected. Like touch wood, I've hurt my knee playing hockey, but it wasn't from contact. It was a very just unfortunate thing. I've never had a major injury apart from my concussion this year, which kept me out a couple of weeks from hockey, and I've played it all my life.
Got a question for you in regards to that. I know this is for lacrosse. When we get new parents looking to put their kids in lacrosse, they always say, oh, it looks really violent, or I don't know if I want my kids to play that. But the game of lacrosse is really skill-based, and there's very little contact, really, in regards to like physical hitting.
Yeah.
So do you get the same with hockey? Do you get parents for younger kids saying, oh, I don't want to put my kids in hockey, oh, there's a lot of contact?
Absolutely.
Are they just watching the YouTube highlights that are unrealistic?
Yeah, probably that, and also like when they're buying the gear, and it's like, oh, you need all this equipment because we're covered kind of head to toe.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same in lacrosse. The helmets are, if you just look at the helmet and be like, well, what sport is this? You know what I mean? It's big and football helmet. But if they don't understand the sport, if you're just looking at all the equipment you have to wear and then see the highlight videos, I can understand why you think that's dangerous. But it's understanding that what that's for and those crazy YouTube highlight reels of hits and fights and things like that. One, it happens in professional ranks where there's a lot more at stake and there's experts acting that out. And just know more about the game, like what goes into it. It doesn't even contact in all sports really. Contact is getting less and less. All our sports are going more to finesse, skills, speed. If you look at AFL players from 10 years ago, even they're really bulky and slow. Hockey back 10, 15 years ago, big guys who could just hook and cross check, but that stuff's out of the game. All the kind of clutching and grabbing. So our athletes now are faster. And more skilled. There's kind of no thugs out there that are just going to use, uncalled for
there's
contact.
no room for it anymore.
No, and even in football, you look at those linemen, and they're not just going out and pounding guys. Like you said, they're skillful athletes who kind of grab with their hands and position their body and hips to make a good play. They're not just meatheads being like, I'm going to kill you. They might be saying that and pump up their team or intimidate the other guy, but I know hockey, like, you go watch minor hockey and there's none of that.
Well, look at me, for example. Like, I'm, 5'8", 5'9", and 80 kilos.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to play hockey for 18 years if it was all about hitting and that aggressive style.
Yeah. Well, let's say the same about myself, but I got out of hockey because it wasn't enough hitting, and I played I played defense in lacrosse for that reason to hit. So I can't say the same. I love it.
And the other thing is okay, so you see like hockey fights, for example, you see it on YouTube or whatever. It's never a goon going after a Matt Lindsay and just pounding him out. It's usually two guys that are unhappy and that are willing to do that thing. So if you're worried about your son or daughter, look at your son or daughter. Is my son or daughter the kind of kid who's going to go out looking for someone to fight? And well, then he's going to be protected,
My question for Jase is, you work with athletes all the time. So you work with rugby players, AFL players, hockey players, cross players, whatever. You work with a lot of athletes. I guess, what sport do you see the most injuries, the athletes you work with, and what injuries do you see most often?
Oh, ACLs.
Yeah, right.
It's in the knees. And it's gone, I think, because we've gone away from the heavy contact thing, exactly what you guys are saying, and everyone wants a faster game.
Yeah.
So you might not have that out and out heavy physical contact, human to human. It's that multi-directional change at speed. If that athlete isn't developed properly, I mean, if there's a slight imbalance in their quads at the front of their leg to their hamstrings, there's a lot more force generation going where it shouldn't be. It's not balanced. And if the tendons and ligaments aren't as developed as what the muscles are, that's where you're going to get the problems. So blowing out those ACLs is absolutely huge. Meniscus in the knee. It's generally joint-based, to be honest, which takes a long time to heal. It really does, because ligaments and tendons, they take so long to heal. They've got a very poor blood flow, very poor blood supply. But more so within rugby league players and soccer players that I'm seeing that, and even at a younger age as well. But shout out to Tilly with injuries as well. With what happened with her, that is something that will take intensive rehab.
What did happen? Are you familiar with Tilly? Yeah.
It was in the finger.
Tendon. It was a tendon, So again, being the extremity as well, torn off the bone, so they would have to reattach that surgically. And
the tendon ripped off the bone as in like the skin's like just a oof.
Yeah, I think I made that sound too.
Bit of a snapping sound, but it wouldn't have been nice. But it's something, depending on which one. I wasn't quite sure of the finger, but grip strength is going to be completely gone at that point in time. And it's a long rehab because of that poor blood supply. Not only because it's a tendon, but because it's it's in the hand. It's so far away from your heart.
That's kind of cool. So hold on, elaborate on that.
Yeah.
So things take longer to heal if they're farther away from your heart.
Absolutely, you got to pump, so there's less pressure the further away from your heart.
Yeah, right.
So there's going to be less blood supply, and the further you go away, generally, the smaller the blood vessels are. So
I'm better than yesterday with that one, guys. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
So shout out to anyone who's got diabetes. That's why you're going to the podiatrist for your feet, because they've got small blood vessels in there, and that's generally the first thing that gets damaged by high sugar levels. So,
Wow.
That's awesome. Also, anyone who wants to support Tilly, conversation, the first episode we did, the live one, her GoFundMe is still there, gofundme.com/MatildaQuist. So definitely supporting her and everything that she's doing in the Gridiron community.
Absolutely.
So I love it. So I think that wraps it up for us, guys. You guys got anything else?
No, it's good. We learned a little bit about Gridiron and all 32 teams.
32, yeah.
Well, I thought it was 26, to be honest.
Anybody, feel free to leave us a comment on all the teams if you guys are feeling risky taking up all of our comment space. Go ahead and list those teams for us. Love it, guys. Another round table in the bag. Love it. Yeah, these are my favorite kind. Like, I like this. Like, we all come together, just a group of guys, just chatting over coffee, fireside chats,
Talking about sports.
with the pigskin. It's good, boys. Full month of this. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us in the Fox Den Studio 1. So, hanging out with us, you guys know what to do. If you guys like this podcast, if you guys are digging what we're doing here, please feel free to share this. We want to empower athletes, definitely empower the Gridiron community, not the Gridiron, sorry, the Grassroots community and what we're doing here in Australia, just trying to grow these sports and grow the game. And so, please share this. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Click the awesome, cool little red button that's down there somewhere. And make sure you guys download the podcast and just share it. Again, we're just trying to share this. Leave a comment also on iTunes. It helps us just get up there in ranking so more people can see it. Like I said, we just want to share as much knowledge as we can, our background with health, nutrition, and sports, and just share what we can with the community. So I think that wraps it up for us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Insta. Find us. We're out there.